Hello everyone, Cindy here with Monarch Mom DIY. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel where I love to share my best tips and tools to inspire you to create beautiful and functional home decor on a budget. Today I'm back with 5 more projects. These are using mostly wood items found at Dollar Tree or other popular stores like Walmart, maybe Michael's or Hobby Lobby, but mostly Dollar Tree. So with all that being said, let's get crafting. Today's first project is one I have desperately been needing to make. It's a jewelry organizer out of Tumbling Tower blocks, some wood glue. We're also going to use a little bit of paint. So I am using quite a few Tumbling Tower blocks here. For the base of my organizer, you can see I am going to make 40 sets of 3 Tumbling Tower blocks. This pretty much makes a square, pretty much the same measurements on the sides and the top and the bottom. I'm going to make the base of my organizer with 8 sets of 3 across the long side and 5 sets on the short side. So 40 squares times 3 blocks in each square is 120 blocks. Now the great thing about this project is you can change this up for whatever dimensions you want. So the first thing I'm doing is taking my wood glue from Dollar Tree. I seriously love this super glue wood glue that they have for $1.25. I use it on all my wood projects, and I'm going to put glue on either side of my middle block and then glue these squares of blocks together. So this is your first step. It's going to take the most time, but this is going to make a really cool project, like I said, that you can change up. Now, for the sections in my little divided organizer here, I am going to need 5 sticks that are 8 blocks long. You can see here I'm taking these blocks and I'm gluing them together end to end. This is going to be a row of 8. And I'm going to make 5 of these rows. You're going to see I have this one glued here. I love this level ruler. It's really nice to use as a straight edge when you're gluing rows of blocks like this. So we're going to make 5 of those. Okay, while those are drying, I'm coming back now to my little squares that I made, and I'm just sanding them lightly to get off any excess wood glue that may have seeped through as we were gluing those together. Once those are all ready, I'm now going to glue my rows of the squares. And I don't know how well you can see, but that first square on the left, the blocks are laying horizontal, then vertical, then horizontal, then vertical. I'm going to do them every other like that. And I'm going to make here a row of 8 squares. I have to say, I absolutely love building organizers with the Tumbling Tower blocks. Like this jewelry organizer you're going to see at the end, I've also made a little caddy for my craft table that holds a lot of different tools that I use all the time. All right, so those were 2 of my rows, and then I made 3 more. Now, for the, I'll just call them T-shapes that will hang my necklaces and a smaller one that will hang my bracelets. You can see here I'm gluing 2 blocks together like a little sandwich cookie with glue in the middle. I'm going to do 6 of those pairs, and then once those are dry, I'm going to glue those together end to end. So basically we're going to make a pole, and then we're going to make the T shape for the top. For my necklaces, I'm also going to make that one with 6 pairs of blocks, so the exact same size as this pole. And I'm also going to make the one for holding the bracelets the same length, but I'm only going to make that one 3 sticks tall. You'll see if you look at the finished product here, but we're making little sandwich cookies so that this is thicker and more sturdy since it is going to be standing up. So again, I'm going to make 3 sticks that are 6 pairs long, like the 2 that you see here once they're glued together, and then 1 that is only 3 pairs long, and that's going to be the height of my bracelet hanger. Now, coming back to the tray here, now that we have our rows all glued together, we're going to glue those 5 rows of squares together to make the base of our tray. So again, this is going to be 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, which equals 40 squares times 3 tumbling tower blocks per square is 120. But like I said, you can lay this out however you want, make it bigger, make it smaller, whatever you need to use it for. Oops, I had those in the wrong space. Pulled that one off so that we're still going every other square is horizontal or vertical. Once that is completely dried, the wood glue, I'm just going to sand it lightly again just to get off any excess wood glue that may have seeped through. Wiping off the dust there. You could leave this unfinished and it would actually look really pretty. I decided I wanted to go ahead and paint mine white, and then I'm going to distress it just a little bit so that the wood green comes through. So here is the base. Again, we're going to give this a coat of white Waverly chalk paint on the top, the bottom, and all of the edges. Now I'm coming back. These are those 5 sticks that are 8 blocks long. These are going to be the dividers going the long way on our tray. And then we're going to use individual blocks to make the different sections. And I'll show you that in a second. So we're going to paint these on all of the sides except for one of the skinny sides because we're going to be gluing that down anyway. Here next are our tall towers that we're making, the tees for the necklaces to hang, and also the bracelets to hang. So in addition to everything we've glued together so far, I'm also going to need 28 individual blocks for the design I'm going to make. So I am painting those white everywhere except one of the skinny sides as well. Now, everything is dry. You can see I have sanded it to kind of give it a distressed look. And I'm gluing one of these long lines of 8 across the very front of my tray. I'm going to scooch it back here in just a second so you can see. Then taking individual blocks, I am gluing those going up from that front edge. I'm using the squares that we made the base with as my line of where to glue these. So I'm going to be using, I believe it's 9, let's see if I'm right, 9 individual blocks to make these small little compartments. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to use these small sections for individual pairs of earrings so they can stay organized and I can find what I'm looking for really quickly. All right, so there's block number 8. And then that right-hand section is going to be a little bit smaller because we're ending it there. Then I'm going to glue my next row of 8 down to start our next row. So we're going to do 9 more of the individual blocks here. I am going to make 4 rows on this organizer. These first 2 rows are going to be smaller sections. Now coming to this 3rd row, I'm going to skip every other block and I'm going to make these slightly larger for larger earrings, maybe other things that I want to store in here. And then once that block's in line, we'll put a next row of 8. We will do individual blocks, 5 of them again, to make 4 of the larger compartments, and then we'll finish it off with our last row of 8 for the back side of our organizer. So I hope you can see here some general ways you can make your own tray, however big you want. You can see here I made my T. I did first glue that top piece to the pole and let that dry, and then I'm gluing it into a corner of one of the sections. I'm going to have the necklaces kind of to the back and the left, and then my bracelet one, which is a little shorter, on the right hand side here. I love this. I love that you can make it however big or small you want to hold the jewelry and have everything right where you can find it. I hope you guys like this idea, and I hope you'll give it a try yourself for what you need to organize. DIY number 2 is we're going to make a wood box display shelf using some of these lidded boxes from Dollar Tree, and I'm actually going to use the 5-gallon paint sticks. You can also add some of these hardware feet from Hobby Lobby if you'd like. Now, I'm not going to waste these lids. We're going to use a couple of them in a DIY a little bit later in the video, and then next week, I'm going to use the rest of the lids. But I'm going to make 3 rows of 3. I'm just kind of arranging the boxes where they're going to fit the best. I have made a shelf like this before using the wood crates from Dollar Tree, but I wanted to do something a little bit different using these wood boxes. So basically we're just going to use wood glue, glue them together on the sides, and clamp them down until they are dry. So we're going to glue our 3 rows of 3, and then once those are dry, we'll glue our 3 rows together. So now that our 3 rows of boxes are dry, we're going to glue our rows together, again lining them up and using our clamps to hold them until they are completely dry. Now, once those are dry and I've removed the clamps, I'm going to use my sander to try and even up some of the edges. You can see that some of the boxes are a little uneven, but that's okay. We're going to end up covering some of that up anyway. So we're just sanding everything to get it nice and smooth. Now, I chose for the inside of my boxes to use antique wax. So I'm mainly using the baby wipe method, but I do use a skinny brush to get in all of the corners. So I'm coming around the corners that are around the bottom and then up each of the sides there. Once I have those filled in, I will come back with my baby wipe and get the rest of the inside of the square covered. And I'm going to do this for all 9 of my boxes. Now you could keep your organizer just with the boxes. I chose to take 3 of these 5-gallon paint sticks, and I'm going to make a little bit of an edge at the front of each row. So here I'm just measuring where I'm going to need to cut each of my sticks so that it will fit perfectly across each row. One for the top, one for the middle, and one for the bottom. Once I get these measured off with my pencil markings, I'll pull out my saw and miter box and get those cut to fit. Then we'll use the baby wipe method again with the antique wax to stain all 3 of our sticks here on the front, the top, and bottom edges, as well as the 2 side edges. You don't need to do the back side because you're not going to see it anyway. Now, if you don't care for the color choices that I'm making, of course, you can paint your project whatever color you'd like, or just keep it the unfinished wood would be just as fine. I decided to use Waverly chalk paint in the color Moss. It's a nice dark kind of sage color. I'm going to use this to paint all 4 of my side edges as well as the back side of my shelf. Once everything's dry, I'm going to take hot glue. You could also use wood glue if you'd like. And I'm going to glue those paint stick pieces across the bottom of each row. This is going to make a nice little lip so that whatever you put inside the boxes won't just fall out. And we'll do this for all 3 rows. Now the last thing I'm showing you here are these 4 brass feet. These are from Hobby Lobby. You do get 4 in the package. I will say that it probably would be more sturdy just to not put feet on this, but once I had things in the boxes, it was pretty sturdy. I used this one to organize some of my essential oils, but you could use it for lots of different things. For DIY number 3, we're going to make a really simple mini plant stand. We're going to use some more Tumbling Tower blocks. I'm going to use this repurposed can and some of these medium-sized craft sticks from Dollar Tree. So to start out, I'm going to take 4 of the Tumbling Tower blocks. You can see I'm going to glue them together kind of in a pinwheel. I think you can see how I'm gluing them together there. These 4 are going to be the base of our little plant stand. Then next, I'm going to take 4 more Tumbling Tower blocks, and I'm going to glue 1 on the end of each of our little pinwheel here. Each of the points of our pinwheel is going to have another Tumbling Tower block glued on it, standing up. While that's drying, I'm going to take some of these craft sticks from Dollar Tree and I'm going to measure how much I need to cut off for it to perfectly fit around this can top to bottom. So I'm going to measure 1 and cut it, and then I will use that one to mark off on a bunch of other sticks. I think I ended up using about 12 maybe to go all the way around this can. So I'm just going to speed this up, marking where I need to cut, and then trimming these craft sticks. They're thin enough that you can cut them with a sturdy pair of scissors. And we're going to get those all cut so that we can then hot glue them around our can. So once we have those all cut, like I said, I'm going to put some hot glue on, and we're just going to start going around the can, laying the sticks right next to each other. I will say when I get to the end, I do need to cut my last stick a little bit skinnier, but again, that's really easy to do with these craft sticks. Now coming back to our tumbling tower blocks, I'm going to make 4 sticks of 2 blocks. So I'm just getting some pairs here, gluing them together end to end. These are going to end up being the legs for our plant stand. So we're going to glue those together and let them dry. Coming back to the section that we already glued, we're just kind of getting off any excess wood glue, and then we're going to glue these 4 legs. Just like we did the single block, now on the other side, we're going to glue the 2 blocks tall to each of the ends of our pinwheel. And while that's drying, we're going to use our baby wipe method and our antique wax again, just to give a nice farmhouse, dark wood stained look to our little plant container here. And then we will let that dry as well. And here's our cute little mini plant stand. You can make these in a variety of heights and sizes. You can make that middle section a little bit bigger if you have a larger can or plant that you want to put inside. DIY number 4 is going to be another one of my cigar box play boxes. The cigar box is from Walmart, but everything else you see here is from Dollar Tree. I love these cute little Sesame Street characters in the baby aisle and the Lego base plate. So I love Sesame Street. I might even love it more in my adulthood just for the nostalgia of it. But I have this cigar box from Walmart. You could use any cigar box or wood box. I know Hobby Lobby has a variety, as does Michael's. I'm going to paint it with Waverly chalk paint in the color Fern. This is just like the Sesame Street color to me. You can see I'm using painter's tape to kind of paint off the edges. I'm just wanting to keep my paint on the outside of my box. I am going to keep the inside of my box plain and unpainted, but of course you could do whatever color you would want. So we're going to get the entire outside painted, and then we'll start working on the inside. First, once that paint is dry, I do like to sand it gently with a 400 grit just to smooth it out all around, and we will be Mod Podging on here as well. Now this is a Lego base plate from Dollar Tree, and I'm just marking where I need to cut it to get it to fit in the bottom of this box. Now if you don't want to do the Lego base plate, you could put a piece of felt in the bottom. You could just paint it a different color, whatever you want. And these Sesame Street characters aren't Legos, but they do have a little hole in the foot that I think would fit on those little knobs on the base plate. Then I'm going to trim this. I just Googled Sesame Street background and found an image that I could print on a piece of paper and trim it to size to fit it inside my box. So this is the lid of my box now. I'm just spreading some matte finish Mod Podge. I don't want it too thick, so I may have to remove a little bit of the excess with a paper towel. And then I'm going to place it inside and gently press it down. Now I will say I have not done any Mod Podge over the top of my picture yet because I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to run. I think what I may actually do is cut a piece of self-adhesive laminate and put that over the design instead. Then taking some hot glue, I'm going to glue in my base plate piece that I cut, which I'm not going to lie, it was a little hard even with my really sturdy scissors, but I was really happy with how it turned out. Then I just Googled Sesame Street logo and printed that out to glue on the top of the box. Same method, we'll just spread out some matte finish Mod Podge, press down that image, and wait for it to dry completely. And oh my gosh, I'm so in love with this. I think it's so adorable, would make such a cute little gift. You could have this for your child to play during a meeting that you're in, at the store, whatever. I just think it's so cute, and I love looking in the toy aisle at Dollar Tree for other ideas, other boxes I can make. DIY number 5 is probably my favorite. This is a bamboo cutting board lanterns. I'm going to make 2 lanterns. We're going to use 2 cutting boards for each, 4 of these sticks of wood, 4 of these acorn feet, and we're going to use 1 of these box lids. I promised you from DIY number 2 we were going to use 2 of the lids. I'm taking more of those craft sticks and I'm going to cover over the laser cut image. So we're just going to take, I think it's like 6 of these sticks is going to go pretty much across the top. So I'm just marking my sticks and then we'll get those cut and then we will glue those across the tops of these lids. So each of our lanterns, like I said, is going to use 1 of these lids. We're going to use 2 bamboo cutting boards from Dollar Tree and 4 pieces of wood. You can use the tall pieces in the crafter square. You could use wood dowels, whatever you'd like. You could even make the height of your lanterns with Tumbling Tower blocks if you wanted. But before we get to that, you can see here I'm taking wood glue and I'm gluing those 6 pieces of craft sticks across the box lid, and we're going to make 2 of these. Now these are 4 pieces of wood I had in my craft stash, actually in my garage. These are not ones I bought at Dollar Tree. They're a little bit smaller. I am going to give these a coat of white Waverly chalk paint and then we'll let those dry. Now I'm going to come to my cutting boards. I'm going to paint them all white. You could, again, paint your lanterns whatever color you'd like. You could leave them the plain wood as well. So I am painting all the sides and the edges of my cutting boards, 2 for each lantern. Now that my wood glue is dry, I'm also going to paint my box lids with the craft sticks with white Waverly chalk paint as well on the top and all 4 sides. And lastly, I'm going to paint 2 of these wood rings from Dollar Tree as well with our white Waverly chalk paint. And like I said, we're going to do the side edges and the other side of each of our cutting boards. So lots of painting, but again, make it your own. Use whatever colors you'd like. I will say that these bamboo cutting boards don't really take antique wax because they're not really porous, but you could definitely paint them whatever color you choose. Now these are the legs for my taller lantern. These are from Dollar Tree Crafters Square. They're in the wood pieces that you can purchase for $1.25 each. Of course, if you have lumber and have a saw, you can probably get these cheaper if you just buy a long piece, but for something quick, and if you don't have a saw, these are great alternatives for your lanterns. These little wood pieces are from Hobby Lobby. You get 4 in a package for, I don't know, like $1, and I thought these would be really cute to use as feet for our lanterns. Once my cutting boards and my 4 legs, I'm calling them, for each lantern were dry, I am going to sand them. These I'm just going to kind of smooth out, and then I am going to distress the 4 legs for each of my lanterns just to give it a little bit more of a rustic look. You can see here, I think I'm using like, I don't know, 100 or 80 grit or something like that. So it gives it a little bit more of a distressed look. Then using wood glue, I'm going to glue 1 leg in each of the corners of my cutting board, and then we'll let those dry completely before we put the other cutting board on top. So once those are dry, I am going to put that other cutting board on top just by putting some more wood glue on the other end of each leg and pressing that down. Now, on top of that, so this is now the bottom of our lantern, I'm going to glue one of each of these little acorn caps for little feet on our lantern. And once those are dry, we can turn our lantern back over so we can put our little box lid on the top and our ring. So here I'm just going to use hot glue going around the edge of the lid there, flipping it over so you've got your craft stick pieces there on the top. And then with a little bit more hot glue, I'm going to glue this little wood ring on for the top of the lantern. And we'll do this to both of our lanterns. And here they are finished with a little greenery and a candle inside. I love these, and hopefully you enjoy this new other idea of how to make lanterns with Dollar Tree products. Thanks again so much for joining me today. Please let me know in the comments which of these projects was your favorite. And also remember, you can open up the description box below the title of this video to see a list of all the tools and supplies that I've used in today's projects. Thanks for joining me. Take care, and we'll see you next time.